Hi, this is the Performing Songwriter, and my name is Ray Naylor. My guest today is Michael Ronstadt. Michael comes from a very musical family. He has worked with a number of artists, including David Bromberg, Linda Ronstadt, Muriel Anderson, and Craig Bickhart. Michael performs extensively with the group the Ronstadt Generation, and performs with Aaron Nathans, a past guest on the Performing Songwriter. Michael is an accomplished songwriter and plays a number of instruments, including the cello, for which he is most recognized in performance. Let's meet Michael Ronstadt. Michael.
How are you doing?
How you doing? Yeah, good.
Doing good.
Thanks a lot for coming on. Now you live in Cincinnati. You used to live. Well, you grew up in Arizona, is that right?
I grew up in Tucson, Arizona, and after I finished graduate school in Cincinnati, at University of Cincinnati College Conservatory of Music, I went to the greater Philadelphia region for about 5 years, and that's why I met you in the past. That's why I've met so many great musicians, and I keep coming back. But I moved back to Cincinnati about 2 years ago, and I'm enjoying being there. It's a little less crazy as far as a musician's schedule. I get to drive less, and I can drive actually more in a weekend.
Yeah.
So I'll do like 40 hours of driving on a weekend, and I'll come back home to my apartment.
Okay. I did want to mention for people that have seen this show before, we're going to make the interview a little shorter than normal so that we can get to the music more quick, so hang in there. A little bit about your history, when you kind of got involved with music, and I mentioned in the introduction, your family has been very musical, so give us a little bit of a history.
Well, my family has been in the Tucson, Arizona, northern Mexican region for over 100 years, and started with my great-great-grandfather coming from Germany to Bonamici, Mexico, and he basically brought the musical tradition, which ended up blending with all the Mexican music traditions, and at some point the family kind of moved their way up to Tucson, Arizona. My great-grandfather did that, and he started a wagon wheel company, but he also started the first Philharmonic band in Tucson. So he called them Los Tucsonenses, and that just means the Tucsonans. So if you've heard of Ronstadt Generation, y Los Tucsonenses, that's Ronstadt Generation and the Tucsonans, and so we have that. It did have my dad, my brother, and I as the main part. My dad passed away in August, so it's just my brother and I doing that, and we have our Tucson friends who play drums, saxophone, and upright bass, and so we tour, and we carry on that tradition. We sing the family music that's been around for 100 years, English and Spanish, and we learn new music and we write.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you play a number of instruments, cello, and what else?
I play cello, guitar, charango.
What is that?
The charango is a little instrument from a South American instrument that's made out of an armadillo shell originally. I have one that's made out of wood, and they sound a little better. So good thing for the armadillos, I'm thinking. And then I also play mandolin, and I know how to play scales on piano. That's from class piano when I got my master's degree. They force you to play, so I can't play any music on piano, but everything else I can do some stuff. Okay. I utilize my skills.
Okay. Yeah. I think I read on your website or somewhere that you play about 300 gigs a year. Is that accurate?
Yeah, and I think I haven't calculated this last year, but I'll calculate that at some point. Right? I keep a record of all my shows, and I did notice that I was around 350 or more, and it felt really busy. But I like it. Musicians like to travel, as you know. We like to play.
And it's nice that you are able to do your music for a living.
Yes. I'm thankful for that.
It's not the case with a lot of people.
It's it's not easy, but it's worth it. So if anyone ever wants to go play music full time and you have that passion, I mean, just jump right in. And
As I said before, we're going to get right to the music, so we're going to do that now. And while we move some chairs around, we're going to take a look at a video, or at least part of a video of our next guest on the show. Okay. In about 2 weeks, and his name is Jeff Twardzik. I don't know if you're familiar with Jeff.
I haven't heard of him, but
Jeff, he's open for a number of. He's really like a country. His genre is country, and I'm going to read. He's open for some well-known people, but he kind of has been out of the scene for a number of years. I think because raising a family. I think, okay. But he's kind of back playing, okay. And which is good.
Yeah.
And some of the people that he has opened for, Leanne Womack, Patty Loveless, Dwight Yoakam, and Diamond Rio, and that was probably, I don't know, 10 or so years ago. So this is actually a slideshow that I put together, and one of his songs underneath, which is called Holly, Won't You Let Your Hair Down. So we'll listen to that, and then Michael will be back for a performance.
I can see the tears in your eyes. I know you finally realize the love you thought you know has broken you in two and dragged your heart around. Well, I'm here to tell you some news. Someone who really cares for you. If you just let me in, I swear you'll never be alone again. Baby, won't you wipe off that frown? And Holly, won't you let your head down? The hurt you feel I can't deny, but you can't keep it all inside.
This next song is going to be on the upcoming album by Aaron Nathans and Michael Ronstadt, and it's called Conshohocken Curve. It's a song I co-wrote with Aaron. It was a dark and stormy morning. I was going 65. Seatbelt snapped, the heater blasted, my head was stuck in drive. Kind of half expected it in my bleary morning fuzz, but I was still a bit uneasy when I felt my pocket buzz. Had in mind what I might do, but I lost my nerve. She had to drop the big one on the Conshohocken curve. The sun had just begun to rise. Blue Route exit passed. Eyes bugged out, the drool dripped down. I swear I almost crashed. Felt my heart skip 7 beats. Words spun around while crashing, tearing apart each little thought that I had just been stashing. Had in mind a straighter course, but I had to swerve. She had to drop the big one on the Conshohocken curve. muddy blank terrain. My tires grip for traction, a breaking in my brain. She screams out, "You're too intense, you're driving me away." The memories, they all flood out, the thunder brings the rain. 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 That she would take me back like 7 times this year. But next time that she breaks it off, I know she'll find me here. Guess that in the end we all get what we deserve. Just another morning on the Conshohocken curve. Guess that in the end we all get what we deserve. Just another morning on the Conshohocken curve. So I'm going to do another song that I wrote while I was traveling in Wales, in North Wales, not North Wales, Pennsylvania, which anyone in Pennsylvania might say, "You're touring in Wales?" And North Wales in the UK is about maybe the same size or smaller, but it is a big place in our minds because there are a lot of people there. So I had a lot of free time, and I came up with this kind of jam thing. It was like, oh, that could be a song. And so I sat down and wrote some lyrics, and I call it my one-man jam band song, hosted by Mike. There we go. Down the road, grow roots that seep into yellow springs, plant my feet deep inside the earth, stay right here until I return. Long, long time waiting for the shine, peace and safety mine to share and divide for us. The wind speaks in vague tones of blue or green, waving gently, stuck yet free. Summer weather not quite alright, but beauty still can seep inside my eyes. Long, long time waiting for the shine, peace and safety mine to share and divide for us. for the shrine, peace and safety mine, to share and divide for us. So this next song is kind of a bluesy number, and I call it One Step, and it was actually on Crooked Fiddle. So it's just one of my favorite songs to play, and I believe I put it on my Bridging the Gap album from 2010 also, but that was on guitar and voice. So this is an example of a song that I would take from guitar and say, oh, I can do it on cello. And it's kind of a study into your own writing style, and I found it really interesting to figure out blues cello. So we'll get down and dirty with some blues cello. One step, two back, get up, do it again. The world's locked up, and I am a free soul. But my head's on straight, more than pen to play. One step, two back, get up, do it again. Playing the cards, hoping to win. The game's not over till it begins. We try to be smart, but my life is hard. Holding our hands, but they'll just pull us into the sand. Keep tough, hold no shame, for when it's time, sweet glorious rain. One step, two back, get up, do it again. Playing the cards, hoping to win, but the game's not over till it begins. One step, not too late. Pay the dues, then they'll play you, take from you, until you put my hands on straight, and life is good today. One groove, one fade. Hang on, 'cause now we are saved. Playing the cards, hoping to win. The game's not over till it begins. One step, two back, get up, do it again. One step, two back, get up, do it again. One step, two back, get up, do it again. One step, two back, get up, do it again. this next song that I'm going to play is called North Wind, and it's a song written by my late father, Michael J. Ronstadt, and he wrote it while touring in North and South Dakota in February, which is a very cold time of year. So, when the wild winds come down from the cold frozen north, and the sun turns the color of gold, the clouds start to gather in the north and the east, and the ground gets all frozen and cold. The tears start to move in the heart of the night, their heads bowed down into the wind. Just some shelter you seek as the storm picks up speed, and you're feeling so far from your home. As the sun starts to set and the moonlight begins, silver light streaming down through the trees. The stars shine like ice in the clear crystal sky, and the rivers are frozen and still. The tears start to move in the heart of the night, their heads bowed down into the wind. Just some shelter you seek as your breath starts to freeze, and you're feeling so far from your home. It's a hard life, it's a hard life, in the cold and the snow and the wind. It's a hard life, it's a hard life, way up north where the winter begins. It's a hard life, it's a hard life, in the cold and the snow and the wind. It's a hard life, it's a hard life, way up north where the winter begins.
Love makes the world go round and round, picks you back up when you are down. You know it's true, you feel the power. Love makes the world go round and round. I know you've had a bad day or two, nothing goes right, it's the same old view. Hold on a minute.
It's great to hear your music,
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
and I wanted to ask you some things about your songwriting, how long you've been writing songs.
Well, my experience actually comes from playing instrumental music through most of high school. And I think around 2000, 2001, I wrote my first song, which it was I still kind of remember it, but I don't want to remember it. So I did record it somewhere, so that's good. For archival purposes, the sages of archives will know what I wrote. But I think when I started to just truly be inspired to write was, strangely enough, at the Aspen Music Festival in 2004. I was a student there, doing the orchestra stuff, chamber music, all that. And there was a club called Club Chelsea, and they were this underground bar, and I was underage, but I knew some of the musicians, and I was backing up some of them, but I was like, well, I have some songs. So I started sharing my songs at an open mic, and the bouncer's only thing was, like, if I see you drinking, I'm going to kick you out. And it didn't sound very fun, so I never drank anything while I was there, and I still don't drink while I play. So it's I enjoyed disappearing in the music just how I do. But I just started, I guess my early songs were a little more about the poetry. It came from like some poetry stuff I was doing, and I converted them to songs. And then I started writing songs inspired by a musical riff or vice versa. And they usually came at the same time. And then now I've been writing more lyrics, and then the music comes afterwards. So I've been going through these phases, but it's a developing craft, and I'm always trying to get better. And I look back and I go, wow, how did I write that? I'm like, I can do better now. So hopefully I'll continue to improve. Yeah.
I also read, I think, on your website that you've played, in addition, in terms of recordings, in addition to yours and Aaron and your family group, that you've played on lots of recordings of other people.
Yeah, I do a lot of session work. So that's kind of, as a musician, and especially as like a studio musician, I think ever since I was in high school, I started to dabble in the studio world. I grew up sitting in studios as a little kid because my dad, when he was recording on the Canciones de mi Padre for my aunt and Las Canciones, we were over at the site with George Massenberg, sitting on the couch as wee lads. So we were, my brother and I just grew up with the recording studio around us, and when I started to go in there and get paid to play cello, it's been just a fun and really exciting adventure, because you end up playing on so many people's songs and recordings, and you just like make networking things, network. And so I have a relationship with a lot of studios in Philadelphia, Phoenix, Tucson, a little bit in LA, some in Nashville, New York, New Jersey, and even some people who I just record for long distance, and that's becoming more of a thing for me.
Oh, okay.
Which means I can stay at home and send parts out to people. So that plus teaching, plus performing, plus recording albums for myself makes a pretty full life, and it keeps me paying my rent and not feeling like I won't have a place to live. So.
And in terms of your own recordings, solo or with the Ronstadt Generations or with Aaron or anything else that is yours, so to speak, how many? What are some of those records?
With Aaron Nathans, we have an album called Crooked Fiddle, released in 2014. I recorded an album with Bobby Fischer, and we called it Album Fischer and Ronstadt, Ancient and Unending, and that was released in 2013. I released my fourth solo album called Foolish Fox last October in 2015. Ronstadt Generations has a number of albums. The newest one is Into the Land of the Setting Sun, released this last May. It's the last album with my dad's voice on it, so that's always, if you want to catch that sound, it's worth picking up. Done some evergreen albums, a Christmas album and a patriotic one. I've got an album from 2010 called Bridging the Gap, and then anything in between. I guess Trotta Ronstadt is another group that I've done about 3 or 4 live albums with, and I've got an instrumental CD that I just put out, which is really friendly for like echoes type of programming. It's called Shaken Earth, Volume 1, and that's a album series that I'm starting to develop. So I'm working on Volume 2, 3, and 4 right now. So.
Cool. And you're actually currently recording with Aaron Nathans for another record, right?
Yeah, so we're actually going to the studio tomorrow, or actually today, actually. I did a gig last night, and now I don't remember what day it is, but going to the studio after this interview, and we'll be in Phoenixville doing that, and we've got 3 more tracks to record. And I'm hoping that we can put it out sometime in 2017. It's a long, slow process to get it right, but you're much happier as a musician when you do record something the way you want it, so you don't have any regrets.
Do you have a title for that? Yeah.
No title yet. We were thinking, well, we have a song about a peanut allergy, and we were
Oh,
calling
yeah. Aaron sang that when he was here.
So we were joking that, the first one's Crooked Fiddle, we'll call the next one Crooked Brittle, but we probably won't call it that. So.
Yeah, if people want to get any of these CDs, see where you're playing, how might they do that?
Well, you can always come to a show, and I always like seeing people in person. But you can go to ronstadtrecords.com. My brother, Petey Ronstadt, started the Ronstadt Record Company.
Oh, okay.
And it's official. It's a really beautiful place to pick up albums, and my brother would, and his family, his little baby girl and his wife would love it if you bought some albums from there. On top of that, I've got links on michaelronstadt.com, and then you can always go to iTunes. I've got a number of things on Spotify. Shaken Earth, you have to just either buy it digitally or download it, or buy the physical copy.
Right.
And you can go to Amazon and all those places. I exist in a lot of places, and it's just a Google search away.
Cool. Michael, thank you very much for
Thank you.
coming on, and we'll be back in about 2 weeks with Jeff Twardzik.